Welcome back to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
Christmas music. It is that time of year for Christmas music, whether it's special services or Christmas concerts. And this year might look a little bit different in many ways and in many places. But one place that Christmas music has been a long tradition is at St. Lorenz Lutheran Church in Frankenmuth, Michigan. Joining us today, Scott Hislop. He's director of parish music at St. Lorenz. Scott, thanks for being our guest on the Coffee Hour.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us about the role of music in the life of this congregation, St. Lorenz Lutheran Church, Frankenmuth, Michigan.
I think that music in the life of St. Lawrence is fairly similar to music in the life of almost any congregation in the country. I mean, music is one of those points that it binds us all together, regardless of gender, race, income. It's something that we all come together in, especially if it's a congregational hymn or something or song that we can all lend our voices to. Music also has that undefinable way of being able to express big ideas, theological insights in that words simply can't do on their own. And if there was ever a time in the life of the church, both here in 2020 and certainly the season of Christmas is one of those times where we have that great mystery of faith, the word becoming flesh. How do you begin to express that merely with words? And music steps in and helps to try to bridge that gap.
Music is such a rich history at St. Lawrence. What have Christmas has been like in the past for the congregation and the musicians at St. Lawrence?
Well, Christmas is sort of the finish line of the marathon that begins at Thanksgiving, and in terms of as one of the musicians on the staff, it's something that the choirs begin their preparation of Christmas music usually pretty much at the first choir rehearsal in the fall, and it always comes to its final point, Christmas Day, and along that way we've had our Christmas concert, which has traditionally been the second weekend in the month of December, and that concert, that humble concert that began 70 years ago, now tends to bring in close to 2,000 people over 2 concerts in a weekend. And we've never really tracked what our viewership, both with our cable presence and online presence, has been, but it's a pretty significant share for a church to be getting for something like this. The Christmas Eve and Christmas Day worship services are huge. We would in normal times, we would probably have close to 3,000 to 4,000 people in the building for worship services. That's 3 worship services on Christmas Eve and 2 on Christmas morning. And this year, because of the restrictions that we are all living with right now, we've expanded. So we now have 4 Christmas Eve services in the sanctuary, 2 over in our auditorium over at our school, and then we'll have the traditional 2 back at the church on Christmas Day.
And let's be honest, Frankenmuth is kind of like Christmastown, Michigan, right?
I think they actually claim to be Christmastown, USA.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Christmas is kind of a big deal in Frankenmuth, right?
Yeah, indeed it is. I'm feel pretty safe in saying we have the world's largest Christmas store right here in town. So it's yes, it is a big deal.
It's a big deal. Well, how are you approaching Christmas music and Christmas the Christmas concert this year?
Well, we have a very hybrid kind of thing going on. I mean, 9 months ago, I'm sure nobody would have even thought of doing as much that we're doing virtually these days. But our Christmas concerts that will be aired next week are all going to be virtual. So that's probably the first thing that we all had to wrap our heads around, that we wouldn't be doing an in-person Christmas concert this year. And then second came, what was the content going to be? So we're using the best of previous concerts. So we're putting together a fair amount of the material from, I'd say, within the last 3 years or so of our Christmas concerts. And then we also did record some new material this year, being that it's our congregation's 175th anniversary and the 70th anniversary of our Christmas concerts. Long before the pandemic hit, we had commissioned music to celebrate these two milestones. And so we have one really spectacular piece of music to mark the 175th anniversary of the congregation, written by a son of our congregation, a fellow by the name of Paul Lazel. And Paul grew up here in Frankenmuth, attended St. Lawrence, and went on to Western Michigan University as a music major. And he's now a musician on Broadway. He had the unique opportunity to get in on the ground floor of a little show on Broadway called Wicked, and he's been with Wicked ever since. And just an enormously talented and just a terrific guy. And so last winter, I had asked him if he would consider writing a piece for our concert. So we actually commissioned a text by a Michigan writer by the name of Marilyn Beery, and Marilyn wrote a beautiful text. It's called Before the Star. And then Paul set it to music, and then another local composer in the area orchestrated it, took his piano accompaniment and wrote it out for strings and winds and percussion. So back in the middle of November, we had a recording session in the church, which was closed to the public. And the instrumentalists were all spaced out 6 feet apart, wearing masks. And the singers, we had 8 singers, and we normally would have around 100 singers in the choirs, but we had an octet, 8 singers, spread out 12 feet apart, all wearing a specialized mask called a singer's mask. And we recorded that piece, and then we also recorded a piece which I wrote, Winter Night Gives Birth Today, to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the Christmas concerts. And then we also recorded 2 new handbell works. That our handbell choir has been about the only thing that's been able to proceed somewhat normally. We were able to space the tables apart 6 feet, and everybody wears masks, and we are fortunate to have two full sets of handbells, so we don't have to share bells or anything. So it's a pretty safe venture, and they did a terrific job with everything.
Sounds like it's going to be a fantastic event, even if it's not in person. So many exciting things, and all of the new music. It sounds like it's going to be just a wonderful event to tune into. Are there other selections of music from previous concerts that you can share with us that we'll be able to look forward to?
Yeah, I mean, our male chorus will be singing something older, a piece that was probably more popular in probably the 50s to 60s. Do You Hear What I Hear? And our ladies treble choir is singing an absolutely beautiful arrangement of What Child Is This for harp and choir. Our mixed choir will be singing John Rutter's selection, I Saw 3 Ships. And so, yeah, there's all kinds of just great music. Our instrumentalists will be playing some great selections along the way as well. What's kind of fun about doing it virtually is because of it being the 70th anniversary, and by doing it virtually, we were able to do some interviews with, we still have some members in the congregation that were a part of the very first Christmas concert 70 years ago. And so we have a gentleman that comes in and helps us out with some of our video media needs. And he did interviews with these people. And then we have several families that have up to, I think, 4 generations of each family singing or playing in the concert as well, all at one time. So there are some neat aspects of the whole thing that we're able to focus on that we couldn't necessarily do if it was a live concert.
So what do we need to know to join the concert this year to get to hear this concert?
What you need to know is The first concert, the first airing of the concert, I should say, will be this Saturday, December 12th at 6:30 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time. And the second concert will be at 3 o'clock p.m. on Sunday, December 13th, again, also Eastern Standard Time. And you can find us at 3 possible different venues. www.stlawrence.org, just STLORENZ.org. Or we'll also be doing Facebook Live on 2 pages. The congregation's Facebook page, which is just St. Lawrence Lutheran Church and School, and then also Music at St. Lawrence, which is the Facebook page for our concert series.
It sounds like, well, since we can't be there in person to enjoy the music in person, it's a nice alternative. But I'm sure you're eager to get back together with all your choirs and enjoy wonderful music together. God's blessings on this concert, and as well as your Christmas services that are coming up. And we look forward to hearing the great music at St. Lawrence, whether it be online or in the future. Hopefully, everyone will have the chance to come together and hear this great music again. God's blessings on the concert, Scott.
Thank you very much.
You've been listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
The Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support The Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit KFUO.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@kfuo.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.